Heroes, demon lords, it's a story as old as time. We've all heard it before. It's a story about a hero who triumphs over evil, the demon lord, and all of their subjects, and overcomes all odds. However, not today. No, today we're going to talk about a hero that didn't have really any odds. In fact, it's the demons that had to overcome odds, if anything. We're talking about I'm Quitting Heroing. Now, this show is a very comedic show. At least that's the way it kind of starts. And before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and let you all know, big spoiler warning here. I'm about to pretty much ruin the entire plot for you. So if you haven't seen the show already, I highly recommend you go watch it first, and then you can come back and hear me yap about various things. So we are talking about the I'm Quitting Heroing, and specifically, we're going to talk about, first off, our hero, Leo. So he is a character that is a very typical hero. I mean, he's even wearing like the very typical hero armor. And he has the very typical quest of fighting against demons and defeating the demon lord, in this case it's a demon queen, and overcoming all odds and all obstacles and saving and protecting humanity from the evil tragedies of demons. Except the demons aren't really that horrible. They're actually kind of just typical people. I mean, they live very normal lives. I mean, sure, they might look different, but they really are kind of the exact same as humans in this case. And they don't even really have any crazy evil quest. And so at the end of the day, the hero ends up defeating all of these demons, albeit very easily, actually. No obstacles really to overcome. He kind of just walks right through them all. The only one that I think put him through any sort of challenge was the actual demon queen herself, Echidna, and even she wasn't really that much of a challenge for him. And so he goes back to humans and he talks to them and he's like, all right, I did your bidding, and they all kind of just despised him. People even wondered if he was going to be the next big threat towards humanity and become the demon lord himself. And so, with all the humans and their worries, the king ends up unfortunately banishing him from the human realm, the human city. He's like, I hate to do this to you, buddy, but like at the end of the day, you know, my people hate you and I kind of have to do what the people like, you know, or else, you know, they're gonna hate me too. So he banishes him, and the hero kind of goes off on his own little journey until he finally reaches the Demon King castle of Demon Queen Echidna, and he asks for a job. Yeah, he asks for a job. So the Demon Queen, being obviously horribly against this idea, because I mean, he's the reason that they have all the problems that they currently have. I mean, he destroyed their whole castle and defeated all their army, and he technically didn't kill anybody, but he did harm a lot of them, and many of them had to go back to the demon realm to recover from their injuries. And so the issues that they're currently facing are all kind of caused by him, so she's like horribly against the idea of him joining them or helping them in any way. However, her four generals, Shutina, the prim and proper succubus, Lily, the small wolf girl, Mernes, the half-human, half-demon assassin, and Edvard, the dragonkin dude. And they actually respect Leo quite a bit because of how he was able to best each of them in battle with relative ease. And so they end up interviewing him without Echidna really knowing. And so they basically ask him why he wants to help them. And so he begins with basically running through how he defeated each and every one of them. Just being straight up stronger than Edvard, being just vastly stronger than Mernes, being able to outsmart and also just stronger than Lily, and also just straight up making Shutina completely useless by nullifying all of her magic. So after he basically reminds them of the embarrassment that was their individual duels against him, each of them are kind of actually surprisingly just still impressed by him and actually still hold a lot of respect towards him regardless of all of that stuff. And he actually also tells them why he's there. He claims that he wants to side with the demons because the humans kind of gave up on him. Now, he's given a month to basically be a trial worker there and kind of see what he can accomplish in his time. And then if he's successful in any capacity, then they'll go to Echidna and be like, hey, yeah, by the way, we've had Leo helping us this whole time, and we'd like to add him to our army, please. And then hopefully they'll be able to convince her then. But first, he's got to prove himself. Now, all of this part of the show is very comedic. I mean, after all, Marinese just literally runs away from his problems. You have Lily, who's just obnoxiously obsessed with Leo. You have Shutina, who's a succubus that's like very shy about her sexuality and things. And then you have, you know, Edvard and his problems and him just being overly dramatic about everything. So the whole like first half of this show is pretty much like extremely comedic. In fact, Leo is also a type of character who's just cracking various jokes and is oftentimes the straight man in a joke just by sheer absurdity of some of the other characters' personalities. But he himself is also a very goofy person and has a lot of quirks about him that are very entertaining. And even the Demon Queen Echidna is also very interesting and kind of endearing in a lot of ways. Her whole goal is basically to take over this Philosopher's Stone from the humans and use it to recreate the demon realm, of which is basically a barren wasteland that the demons are constantly at war with each other over resources. And she wants to change that and basically make peace with the demon realm and also potentially live in coexistence with humans one day as well, as she was heavily inspired by this book titled Abrad the Imp, and it was a story about an imp who preached coexistence with humans. Now, at this point in the show, it's no longer your happy slice of life fantasy comedic show. In fact, it delves into really brutal existential tragedy in a lot of ways. And it starts with the introduction of Leo's past. After all, it is a very dark past, one that is of a modern time that's being destroyed by war between humans and demons, and how he's a scientific weapon that's given the purpose simply to protect humanity. And you learn more about his past because of his connection with Abrad the Imp. And Echidna and the rest of the characters and the rest of demonkind really believes that Abrad is kind of a fictional character, somebody that somebody made up is like a story to try and convince demons to live in coexistence with humans, but not somebody who actually ever existed. His story is more of a lesson to kids, but in actuality, he is a real person, or was, and Leo knew him and actually had a very good relationship with him. Now, Abrad actually was one of the first demons that invaded Tokyo in 2060 when Leo was first created by humans. And he was preaching coexistence a ton, and that's actually the reason why Leo first seeks him out in the first place. And eventually they kind of spark up more conversations with each other and kind of get to know each other much more, and Abrad actually comes to really feel sorry for Leo and is the first person to inform him of a very tragic future that is to come for him, as his whole purpose is to protect humanity and specifically protect them from demons. And so he will almost always wish for conflict, as his whole purpose in life is basically to fight people and be in conflict with people in order to protect humans. And so he has a very streamlined existence that can only really have purpose if there's fighting. And so Abrad basically sees that he'll never really truly know peace, as if peace ever comes, then he'll simply lose his reason to live. And it's made worse because Leo is practically immortal, as he doesn't really age, being a scientific weapon. And he's only supposed to get stronger with age, as his whole brand is to try and adapt and become stronger. That's his whole ability as a scientific weapon. Eventually it reaches this kind of very rough point where Abrad is being taken away by humans in order to be relocated, but really he's just becoming a prisoner of war. And as he's being taken away, he decides to basically scream out to Leo and try and convince him that if there's ever a time when humans no longer need you, they're at peace, they no longer need a hero, that's your chance to go away, to escape, to be free. And in that case, he tells him that he needs to find a reason to live. Which Leo fucking doesn't even do. I mean, Abred had such this huge impact on him, and yet he doesn't even do the simplest thing that Abred tells him and find a reason to live. In fact, when he's finally given his freedom in the present time of the story, instead of finding a reason to live, he actually just finds a reason to die. And that reason is to sacrifice himself for the demons in order to allow them to rebuild the demon realm without having to go to war with the humans. Echidna's whole goal is to get this Philosopher's Stone, right? And he actually has one himself. It's his heart. Every demon heart soldier was built with a Philosopher's Stone as their heart. And so he basically tells them, Echidna and the 4 generals, that he's going to kill all of humanity if they don't kill him and take his Philosopher's Stone. Basically, he's trying to have them prove to him that they're worthy of taking the Philosopher's Stone, and also he wants to be finally free of being a hero. And he feels like the only way, the only escape that he really has is by dying. And so at this point, the show takes a huge turn where it was this lighthearted comedic show, and now it's kind of this dark tragedy where our hero is going to die because he has to in order to sacrifice himself for the greater good of humanity and demons. However, Echidna and pals decide instead, fuck him and his bullshit, we're going to actually not kill him, and we're going to find another way in order to find peace with humans and also rebuild the demon realm. And so they decide to keep him alive and actually use him as one of their own in order to basically communicate with humans better and eventually bring peace to the world. And that's kind of where the show ends. Which, happy ending, right? But my God, did it take us a really dark turn there for a little bit. And it's a wild concept. The whole idea of this immortal being basically having one singular purpose of fighting forever and ever, and living thousands of years with this purpose in mind, and not really being able to free himself from it. Not really even because of the brainwashing that humans did to him when he was first born, but rather the brainwashing that he did to himself for thousands of years. And so the show is an incredible show, in my opinion, because it teaches us all of these nice, good life lessons of how to delegate things so that you're not working too hard, how to work with others, teamwork, right? How to train people and understand people's circumstances, and also just how to listen and communicate with people. But it also teaches us that even when we're at the lowest point in our existence, our lives, that there oftentimes is another way. Oftentimes there's something out there that can help us get past all of those troubles that we're having. And oftentimes it's found through others and being able to connect with others. And so Abred saw a very sad and lonely existence for Leo, one with no purpose if given peace at any point in time. But Leo manages to break out from that. And it's not because of himself. It's because of Echidna, Shatina, Lily, Marinese, and Edvard. All of the demons that end up helping him get out of that mental state that he was in, where he was kind of lost and without purpose. And he ends up much happier and much more fulfilled in his existence once he finds a new purpose and has a new goal of not just protect humanity, but protect demons, protect life, and to try and help everyone get along and reach a peaceful conclusion. And that's how we kind of reach the end of our story of this hero and demon lord. I really, really enjoy this anime. It's one of my favorites. I've watched it a couple times now. I just really wanted to talk about it today, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video as well. Let me know what your thoughts are on this show. And thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Peace.